All right. I declare the September 4th. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Excellent. Welcome, everybody, to the September 4th Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, and I declare that to be open. Let's get started. All right. The order of the day we have. Let's get started with. We have in-person teleconference. Okay. We have actually the first hybrid meeting where the commission, the participants, the public can participate either in person or through Zoom, correct? Or remotely. I don't know if it is Zoom, but it is, you are allowed to participate remotely, give your statements, questions, just like you do for city council meetings, right? So that's a new thing, and that's fantastic. Hopefully, we will have a lot more people who are able to join and share their concerns or observations with us, so that we are informed about it. So the second is you can also watch a live stream online. You always could observe it, right?
Our agenda starts on page 3.
I don't know, but I just want to make sure that we could just talk about it in general. What some of the new things are.
No, it's roll call.
So we can start with a roll call. So go ahead. Thank you for the start. Thank you to the staff for putting together the agenda in such great detail. So let's start with the roll call.
Commissioner Kumarapan?
Yeah, here.
Commissioner Srikanth?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanek?
Here.
Vice Chair Bono?
Here.
Commissioner Swamy?
I'm here.
All present.
Excellent.
Do we have the lights?
Apparently, that's a new thing as well, where we are just going to raise our hands in the interests of uniformity and equality and all those good things. All right. Excellent. So let's move on to the next item, which is the ceremonial matters and presentations. The first one is Parks and Recreation Department Youth Teen Events Facilities Division's Youth and Events Program. And the action is we receive a presentation on this from the Recreation Department on the events and programs. So we look forward to it. Please continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Just give me a moment and I'll get the correct item up here for you. All right, we're in business. Thank you, Commissioners, for having me here. I'm going to take off my liaison hat and I'm going to put on my recreation manager hat. I'll be presenting on my division tonight. Okay, we'll do that. Tonight, I'm going to talk about, of course, my division, but the classes and programs, our camps, preschool program, community events, the sponsorships that we have, festivals, and our front desk operations. And just wanted to share a picture of my great team that I have here. And just to remind you that this is not everything from our division. I did give a presentation on facilities back in May, so that is one part of our division. And in October, we'll also be having a more in-depth teen presentation. So this is everything else from me. Okay, let's get started. So we have our youth and teen and adult special interest programs and camps, and giving you some of the statistics from the last 2 fiscal years. Looking at this, you'll see that we have dropped a little bit in participants and we have dropped a little bit in the, okay, this so I can read my own screen here, in the total number of programs. However, that has been more of a consolidation. When we look at our bottom line revenue to expense, we're actually ahead in the fiscal year 24-25 by about $24,000. So it's more of a consolidation than anything. We have run all these programs across 17 different contracts. So most of our programs are offered through contractors. And we do have one staff-run preschool that runs for the entire school year. And then we have 3 staff-run summer camps that we'll talk about. Similar to the senior center, I wanted to give you an idea of the breadth of our classes and programs. And so you'll see a lot of titles here, but these are some of our more year-round classes and programs. Wilson Park Ceramics and Math Olympiads are 2 of our biggest contracts that we have out of our division. And Wilson Park runs year-round through a contract where they're offering classes, camps, summer programming, year-round programming. Math Olympiads is during the school year. Our music and communication academy classes are run off-site through contracts with group Joyful Melodies is the agency that we do our music through, and then Communication Academy runs it at their site as well. And then we do have a few adult special interest classes that run year round, like Ikebana, retirement planning, and some music and art classes. Moving on, you'll see. I didn't list every single one of them, believe it or not. But this just really shows you that a lot of what we do with our contractors is the summer camps, and we cover so many different topics. Again, I didn't list every single camp that was offered at each of the different locations, but you can see that we're using every bit of programmable space in our buildings during the summer. And we have quite a variety. Obviously, a strong emphasis on a lot of STEM oriented camps with several robotic and Lego camps that are offered. But also a lot of art camps, and some of our more popular ones are also our cooking camps. So it's a great variety of camps that we offer, and we're really proud of the breadth of what we offer there. Okay. Going back to some of our city-run camps. So these are our summer-only camps, and focus here. So for our city-run camps, we have preschool adventure camp, and then the adventure camps are actually 2 different camps. They run together, but there's 2 different age groups, and we kind of mesh them together for a lot of the day when they're running. But they run for 8 weeks of the summer. Preschool adventure and adventure camp runs for all 8 weeks of the summer. So you can see kind of took a little interesting turn in that we were in similar range on participants from 23-24 to 24-25 on the adventure camps, but our preschool adventure camp really took a big jump. And I really attribute that to our coordinator working very hard to promote the preschool program, really getting out there within our own existing school year preschool program and promoting the opportunity for people to come into our camp. And then a lot of parents we have found have been using the preschool camp program to kind of introduce their kids to the idea of going to preschool during the school year. I always like to mention that our Leaders in Training, which is our teen summer program, works only in our city-run camps. So it's really important to us in order to keep that that leadership program for teens viable, and it is very more than viable. It's a vibrant program that we have for teens, but it is kind of codependent on us having our city-run programs for them to work in and to learn from our city staff in the programs. So I always like to mention that in regards to our city-run camps. Okay, we also have our preschool program. And I'm sure you'll notice right off the bat that it looked like it took a dip, and it definitely did take a dip. The school districts in the area have been mandated to offer a pre-K program as part of their regular school curriculum. So now they have pre-K kindergarten first, and that's free of charge. So all the area preschools took a little dip while parents were like, go to a play-based or go to the school for the 4-year-old program. And we did used to run our program as 3-year-old program on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You had to be 3. Everybody in the class was 3. And then 4-year-olds were on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They had the extra day, and it was very structured towards the age group. So our coordinator has done a really excellent job in being flexible and learning to kind of see what the community wanted with this new program in the schools. And so now we're a lot more flexible. We've gone a little tiny bit younger, 2 years, 9 months, and then they can be 2 years, 9 months to up to the 4 years, almost 5 years old on any of the days. And we also figured out that parents also really wanted more days, and we're limited. We can't go past 4 days, and because we're not a licensed program, we're a recreation-based program. So we did learn that they wanted 1 extra day. We could still do that and stay recreation-based. So we take our Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, and we offer that they can sign up for either Tuesday or Thursday in addition. So they get in an extra class, and it's bringing our numbers up. For fall, I think we're at like 42 across the whole program, which will trend out to closer to that 125 number across the year. So again, our coordinator has just done a great job about being flexible and working with the staff. This program is also just very fun in the things that they do for the program. And you can see we have socials. Socials are things outside of the class where they get together with the kids and do something fun, like have ice cream. And then the parents get to socialize, and that has its own benefit as well when they're talking to each other and talking about child development, what their kids are going through. We also have events for the program to promote the program, classroom visits, open house. Our coordinator has started a program, Social Saturdays, where it's just an opportunity for one Saturday they can sign up and kind of check out the room, come with a parent, do a craft, have a snack, and have a little playtime. And then she's gotten some good registrations for the main program from those Social Saturdays. Just to go back to the socials, we had a separate event that we tried, which was the Sweetheart Social. And it had pretty good participation. I put it on here, not as like a main event anymore. It had okay participation the first year. And what we did is we ran a public event one night, and then it was run as a social just for the preschoolers on the second night, only open to the preschool parents. And we ran it 1 year, we ran it the next year, and the participation dropped a little. So what we're going to do is it's just going to be one combined event, and then the public can sign up, but then it will happen all at the same time for the preschool parents and any parents from the public to come. So again, she's just really good about being flexible and kind of pivoting to what the need is there. So anyway, we have some really fun events: Mother's Day tea, touch a truck, which when our public works department comes out and shows the kids some of the trucks and what they do, they love that day. And holiday events, trick-or-treating, the kids come and trick-or-treat through the building, and our staff has a great time actually stopping what we're doing for a second and passing out candy to our preschoolers. So that's a really fun one too. Okay, community events. On to the events part of what we do. These are all of our registered events, so we know exactly what our registered participation is. So basically, if you look at everything except for Big Benny 5K, all of these for the last 2 fiscal years have been sold out. And you can see like 201 to 210, that the extra 9 people was the coordinator trying to work something out when we were overbooked already, but something happened and they were like, please, we misunderstood and we thought we could come. And so she got like 9 more people in like that night. But that was an oversell on all of those kinds of events where you see more. Breakfast with Santa, again, it's 300 is sold out. We were trying to make some exceptions when there was like unique situation. Santa visits have been sold out. Spelling bee has been sold out. So Big Benny took a little bit of a dip last year. Few of you were at that event, and you can see it wasn't not attended. It still had a really good participation. But we had moved that event to a little bit earlier in March off of the Easter weekend because we have so many other events in the city that are happening. And last year it was just not doable to have it happen on that weekend. So we're moving it again. We're going to see because it actually didn't take as big of a dip that we thought it might. And then we did have a lot of people that they signed up for our event. The school district started up their 5K again. They hadn't done it for several years, but several of the classes signed up and then they used ours as like a training for their school district one. So it was actually sort of okay to keep it early. But that gives you a good idea that most of our events have been sold out.
Sonia, do you want to take questions as you go, or you want to finish the whole thing and then go back through the slides so we can talk?
How about I'll finish and I'll go back through if that
Sounds good. Absolutely.
That'd be great. Okay, community events that are free for the public. I didn't put the registration numbers on here because we don't have them. The public comes as they see fit. But just to give you an idea, July 4th morning event, some of you, I think were here this last year. That one really fluctuates with the weather. 2 years ago, we had less participation just from looking around. We could see we had less people here, but it was a very, very hot day. It was like 95 by like 9 in the morning. This last year, it seemed more busy. But we also had a few more activities for the kids, trying to like incorporate those back into the day. But we've had 4th of July fireworks. Again, we noticed things with participation. Hard to say exactly how many people are there, but we have a sense if a site is very, very full or not as full. So this last year it was on a Friday, and we have noticed historically that when it's on a weekend, that sometimes we'll get less participation at the fireworks show because people will head out of town. So those midday 4th of July's will sometimes have more firework participation. This year was a strange one because I was one of the few that was going around to all of the sites, and our closest viewing site, Miller, was actually less crowded early, but we had all of our participation was extremely last minute. Sedgwick seemed like it was pretty calm, and then like in the last 5 minutes before the show, it just had hundreds of people streamed in, and that always happens, but like our participation levels really changed a lot this last year. And that might have been because Friday night people were off at other get-togethers and then came to us at the last second for the show. Okay, our 9 Thursday summer concerts, we've gotten really to the point where we're trying to kind of cover most of the summer with those Thursday consistent concerts. Like, it's summer, it's Thursday, there's going to be a concert at our amphitheater. And we pretty consistently get anywhere from 200 to 300. Some of the bigger bands that have followings of their own, we might go to 400. And some of the ones that are kind of growing their audience will be on the lower end. But we definitely try to get a good mix of bands, and all those decisions are being made in January for the following summer, just to give you an idea. So our 4 Friday night movies at Creekside Park are always really popular. I have the one picture up in the corner, such a beautiful backdrop to the movies, and we've had some great sunsets right before the movies. But just a really fun community event that we have each week. And unfortunately, we can't move where the name is, but that was a very adorable little boy that followed the parade golf cart, like inches away from the golf cart. He was really cute, but you can't see his face. Sorry.
If it's Zoom, you can actually move it.
I can on my screen, but because it's this, yeah, exactly. We had Shakespeare in the Park back this year, and they were back as a paid contract from the city. So that was nice. They were able to make their plans and do their set early on. And then tree lighting at Quinlan is always the first Friday in December. And we've had pretty good participation. Our coordinator there, she's added some fun things like she had the Homestead, not only choir, singing beforehand, but she also had the cheer squad come and they cheered in the fire truck, and that just kind of added the fun for the night. I also put Teen Resource Fair on here, and even though that's more of a teen event that you'll hear about at the next meeting, that also includes our job fair, which used to be a standalone event, and we merged that into the Teen Resource Fair. So I feel like it still qualifies as one of our kind of community events as well, kind of half and half. Okay. I don't know why I'm not advancing here. Okay. There we go. Not sure, it was being tricky. Sponsorships are something that we're always trying to seek out. My events coordinator is the one that tries to take the lead, and I put a little box just to show you a portion of what goes out to businesses in Cupertino. We do that through our business development person, so it goes to all the businesses. And what she puts out is kind of a event lineup and has a little icon for the different kinds of events that people could be involved with. And we've gotten different sponsors for the last couple of years. And let's see, probably your next question is what were the sponsorship amounts? And I do have those. So
know us too well.
I do. So the Rise last year as kind of a one-time deal gave quite a bit for our concert series, and they gave 24,000 for the concert series. And then the Library Foundation gave us 19. It was a very strange number. It was 1,960, but that was the cost of the music licenses. That's why it was such a specific amount. And then Local Kitchens gave us about 250, and they basically were considered to be sponsoring our craft room for the tree lighting. So they bought the supplies for that. And then School of Rock this last fiscal year, 24-25, gave us 1,250 for the July 4th and 1,000 for our movies. So that's just an ongoing process for us to try to get those scholarships and get the agreements written up in order to have the sponsorship. Okay, festivals with our nonprofits, which are free to the public. Those are also done through our division, and they're actually quite a bit of work for us to make sure that we take the applications, we review the applications, and what goes into determining. Most of them are returning, but we still have to arrive at the date, and they're not always locked in on the same date. And so things that affect those dates are when two festivals want a date that's close to each other. Our neighborhood doesn't love it if we do back-to-back festivals. So we try to have 2 weeks at least in between. And that does get hard depending on how all the rest of the city events pan out. And then we have things like the flea market, which started up last year. So then that makes it difficult. You don't really want to have a big festival on the day that they're having the flea market, or just any other thing going on in the city. So we have to kind of take all of those things into consideration and help them to arrive on a date, make sure that we check that they're nonprofit first before we even start talking to them. We usually ask them to make sure that they have spoken with whomever they need to speak with at De Anza to secure parking for the day. So that sometimes will affect the date, because if De Anza has something going on, they'll say, we don't want your festival people coming in and parking because we've got something going on. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and we're kind of holding their hand through the process. Once they're approved, then we're making sure that they have the health permits for, their entire event, that they are working with Recology, that they have the porta potty contract. If they're going to have a lot of people here, they need additional porta potties to support our bathrooms. All of those things go into working with our festivals. And then our staff usually still does work to make sure that the buildings are supervised, and then to make sure that the traffic flow is followed so that everybody is safe and we can get emergency vehicles in if we need to. So here's the wide array. The Ikebana show is not technically what you would traditionally consider a festival, but we put them through the festival process so that they go through the same review. But that is actually an indoor show that happens here. And all the rest are outdoor festivals. Okay, and then the last thing, I touched on this a little bit with my facilities presentation, but we also, I also oversee the front desk operations here at Quinlan. And we really are the main contact for our department, but also kind of for the community. You'd be surprised the number of just community questions that come into us that we're handling, as opposed to anybody else in the city, like, hey, can you get somebody out to help the ducks cross Stevens Creek? You know, it's like those kinds of questions. And then a lot of business questions for us as well. But we're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They take all the class registrations that are done person, and then obviously supporting any online registration that if they have any kind of issue getting into their accounts or any issues, they help them out through the phone. But they take also the reservations for Quinlan Community Center and Creekside Park here. And then we take all the picnic site reservations, which are Memorial Park, Creekside Park, Portal Park, Linda Vista Park, and we actually take the Blackberry Farm picnic reservations as well. And then they follow up with a staff person out at Blackberry Farm. And then one of the more crucial things that just kind of happens is we also do all the reservations for internal programs, events, and festivals to make sure that we don't ever have a double booking. So we have really excellent staff that is very on top of that. And it's amazing that we have so many balls in the air with rentals and events, but it all comes together because our staff is very, very on it. So I think that concludes my presentation, and we'll be back next month to talk about teens.
Well, Commissioner Shrikant, go ahead. But before we do that, after these top questions, would it be helpful for us to just kind of quickly go slide by slide, because it's hard to take notes on each of those? Because it's an excellent presentation, first of all, but it's just, just in case people have questions, it would be helpful to see.
Sure.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Shrikant.
Yeah, I had a question on the last slide.
Okay.
Because that's fresh in my mind, I thought,
Yeah.
yeah, that was fresh in my mind. So, not this one, the previous slide, sorry, the free to public festivals.
Yes.
Like for example, Delhi Heart Festival, it's free for the public to attend, right? For the people who host the stalls, they have some kind of fee, right? The vendors.
Correct. So for most of the festivals, I actually, what's listed underneath them is the nonprofit that is the contact for us and the nonprofit that's running the festival. For most of those nonprofits, it's a fundraiser for them.
Okay.
As part of the festival process, once they've been approved, then they sell their stalls. They'll also usually take a percentage off of any food trucks, or they'll have food booths, and then they're taking a percentage off of that. So the whole event is also a fundraiser for them to some extent.
Got it.
Yep.
The society doesn't have any fee at all. It doesn't get any margin or anything from this.
No, the city does not receive money for that, but we're helping to provide that for.
them. Got it. Thank you.
Are there any guidelines the city provides as to the cost that these events can charge the vendors, or is it completely left to the organizers of these events?
Yeah, not as far as the cost of what they can charge for a booth, but what we work with costs with the festivals is this is what it would cost if you were renting the Cupertino room on a weekend for your nonprofit. This is what it costs to have our staff helping you on these hours. So we have kind of a cost sheet, and that gets that goes in front of council, and then that's approved as paying for them. So that's the cost that we deal with. And we also do pay, the only thing we pay outright for the festivals is for the sheriffs to help to run the traffic control.
And that comes from the city budget, right? The
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Anyone, any other commissioners?
Yes,
Vice Chair Bono.
thank
You
you.
want me to go to a certain slide?
Yes, could you go to the youth teen adult? I have a problem with numbers. Number speaks to me and the residency occupancy on various slides. It's troublesome to me because it makes no sense. So it means like to me, and I'm sorry, I'm very.
Yeah, that's fine.
orient- Means that there's a column missing. I understand like obviously 24, 20, 23, 24, 24, 25. You see the up and down, the 72% residency. Okay, even though the number is minus 96. Then on the next slides, it's city run camps. I mean, it's the way now I'm interpreting it is that, okay, it's 87% from Cupertino that are here, but where are the other 13% coming from?
From outside of Cupertino. That's all.
That's a residence, percentage of residency means it's Cupertino.
Correct.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying, and it's great. There's less or more, but I was like, we don't have the ability to actually find out data wise where they're all coming from, surrounding areas.
Because you generalized it as 13%. But your
Yeah.
question is, where the, out of the 13%, which city? Is it-
Yeah, because if we know for sure that 87% are residents, there's a way, are you Cupertino resident? And then the question would be, if you're not, where are you from? I'm just saying, if you're already collecting one, might as well collect the other. They have it.
We
Yeah,
have it.
sure they have it.
But that's what I'm saying, then.
Yes, they have to-
Missing.
They have to prove we're very,
Very.
very particular in having people prove their residency because they get a better rate for our classes.
I'm very happy to hear that the $24,000 more, all of that is getting great. It's a fantastic presentation and it takes a village, as it says. You're
That's right.
knowing you got-
Yes.
I think like Vice Chair Bono wanted to know that the breakdown of the 13% non-residents, I think, did I understand you correctly? Where are they, how is it distributed in general? Right.
Yeah, I mean, we have that because when they sign up, they do give their address. So we have that in the system. I don't have that broken down for you, but we do have that information.
As a follow-up to that 158, what is the net total capacity? It's great to see a huge increase from 102 to 158, but what's your cap?
That's a really great question, and I'd have to be able to do math very quickly, but so it's divided by 8 weeks, and I cannot remember off the top of my head the maximum capacity, but I think it's 24. It's 24 in our regular preschool classes. So 24 times 8. You're doing that for me?
Yeah, we can do it.
Understand it?
Times 8.
192.
192.
Yeah.
192.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be our maximum. Now take that a little bit with a grain of salt because if we can't get enough, if we don't have like a assistant that 1 week, then we have to make sure that we keep really carefully with the younger kids. So,
How
but
many assistants do you need totally to manage 24?
so we usually have about 3 teachers of some sort, and then we'll try to bring in the extra leaders in training work in that program. So we have volunteers there too.
Okay, anyone else who has questions? All right, Commissioner Kumarappan.
Thank you, Chair. So a couple of questions. One, I think maybe it's there is a adult special program on retirement planning, and why is that part of the preschool teen events? When you go up, I think in the slide.
Yep.
You have it. right?
Here.
Yeah.
So it's just our classes and programs as part of our division. And so we have youth, teen, and adult special interest is our full division lineup. So like Ikebana is mostly adults, retirement planning, and then we have like drawing classes and watercolor. And those tend to be mostly adults.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
how it is.
So it's also special interest.
Okay. Well, the other quick question is the spelling bee in the participation on all the things you have done it. It's 100%. One, that means are we not? I know, like just compared to Big Bunny, it's just only
Yeah.
50%. The rest all come from outside. But spelling bee, given the interest on it, is it anything restricted to just us?
Correct. That is why
Oh.
it's 100%. Yeah. And that's it's a popular event. That one I'll just kind of add in, the spelling bee is unique because it's really a teen run event for youth. So last year, in fact, I was there and our teen coordinator really did not anything for it besides just making sure everything was planned. We were just there as like watching it all happen. But our teen chair was the moderator for the entire event, and it's all scripted out before. But our youth activity board actually runs the event, and then we have teen commissioners are either the moderator, and then we sometimes have them be judges if and if we're interested. So they kind of come in those roles, but the youth activity board picks the words, puts together the entire script. So it's a very, very unique, but super cool event in the fact that
Mainly for
they're running-
Cupertino residents.
yeah, for Cupertino residents, but by teens for youth.
Got it. And the last one is on the festival participation by the non-profit. Is there any idea? Do we know? I know we cannot do a head count, but do we know? Like, I know Cherry Blossom Festival, I've been there, I've seen it.
Oh, participation numbers?
Yeah,
Um,
people typically,
yeah, I could just give you my general feel for, so Kids and Fun, they did have a quick count that one happened just a couple weeks ago, and they did a quick kind of counter, where they do a quick estimating. Our event coordinator is working with her staff to do these kind of like, you look broadly and you go, okay, there's about 20 and 20, 20, 20, and do some quick estimates. But they estimated about 1,700 at 11, and I think she said at like 1:30. So, and I rode through on a bike, and it was very well attended, even compared to last year. Day and night has been kind of consistent, not like our highest, not our lowest. India Heritage has been pretty low, and they actually just canceled. They were supposed to be on September 20th, and they just canceled their event last week. Diwali and Holi, run by the Chamber of Commerce. Diwali very well attended. Holi has been kind of dropping in attendance a little bit. Was super well attended out of COVID, and it's just on the field and throwing the color, and we had lots of participation that first year, but then it's been kind of going down. I think that's just literally because there's a lot of other events to attend now for that. Ikebana Show has always been super well attended. The building is packed. And then Cherry Blossom, again, maybe 3 years ago, they estimated, I think, about 14,000 over the weekend, and that would have been 3 years ago, 2022. Their first one out of the pandemic was insane. And then it's been like pretty good levels since, but nothing like that first year from the pandemic. And then Dilly Hot's always pretty well attended.
yeah, the reason I asked the question, I know we have to put some staff because it's all free, but I just wanted to make sure that we have enough staff to really cover, because sometimes it will be too much, as you said, it is
Yeah.
15,000, all the staff, cleaning and safety, all of them, it would be really packed, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we're surprised by, just an off year, and that one Cherry Blossom, I'll say that I was here, and we spent our entire day trying to keep toilet paper in the facilities, and it was really, really crazy. And they sell alcohol at that event, and I remember
really?
as part of their agreement, and beer and wine only, but they had bought for the entire weekend, and they sold out by noon on Saturday, and then they rebought and they sold out by 4 on Saturday, and then they rebought to get through. So it was really that high of a level that one year. And then the rest of the years it's been a lot more calm. I'd say they were guessing like 14 to 15,000 that year, and I'd say it's probably about 4 to 5,000 a day now.
No.
Yeah.
Sonia,
Thank you, that's all I.
Sure.
Sonia, are all of these events not profitable? So the city of Cupertino does not get any financial benefit from it, or do we make any money out of this at all?
We don't make money, but our outlay for providing that event is pretty good for the number of people in the community that we're serving.
That's excellent. Thank you. I have questions, but I'd like the other commissioners to go. Do you have any other questions?
That's my question.
I did. See, I read your mind very well.
Oh.
All right. So I'd like to actually go to the play page that talks about Quinlan Community Center and Creekside Parks, the picnic sites.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why have we restricted the picnic sites to these 5 locations and excluded other parks like Jollyman Park, Sterling Park, and so on? And how much money are we actually generating from renting these out?
Okay, I don't have it with me, but I could get you the money that we're generating. Right now, what they're doing when they're renting, they're basically promised exclusive use of that area. And so we don't rent out every single park because we want to also make sure that we maintain first come, serve for the community and that people don't get blocked out of, any one site too often, right? So Memorial Park, we rent the one that's straight across the field here, but we also have drop-in tables that are over by the playground area. Creekside Park also has some drop-in tables. But also Creekside Park has the added amenities of a barbecue. And so we've put some larger barbecues in at the ones that we actually rent. And so then people can count on having exclusive use. If they're going to have like a bigger party, they know that they're going to have access to that barbecue. And then we make sure through our public works department that that barbecue is like ready to go for the weekend. So when we know that they've rented it, we're supporting that. But as far as just renting out just a table, we don't do that much in the city. So does that answer your question? Like Jollyman has some drop-in tables in the new park, but we aren't renting those for exclusive use so that people can come in, like use them first come, first serve.
Yeah. When we talk about the Creekside Park, are we talking about the entire area outside of the play structure? Those 7, 8 tables?
That's
Are we
such a
talking
great
about it?
question. I'm glad that you asked that. So we added some tables, and the area is, if you're looking from the park building towards the creek, there's a group of tables that are right up against the fence by the creek.
Yeah.
There's also been added a few drop-in tables along the side, and we've had a little bit of confusion on that, like what does your permit include? So we just recently added numbers onto the table, and we just slightly changed the sign to say,
Sign reserved, right?
this is a reservable area. Tables 1 through, I think it's 10, 1 through 10 are part of the reservable area. So we've had to kind of define that a little bit.
And Sonia, what is the cost per session? And how many hours can you actually block it?
So the picnic areas are, if you reserve it, you have it all day. And then it's by the capacity of what we consider, whatever the capacity is. And so I believe Memorial Park is like 80 capacity. So then it's $80 to rent that for the day.
For the whole day?
For the
For
whole day.
residents, yeah.
Yeah.
For the residents, one price, and non-residents,
No,
one
no,
price.
that's.
But still,
Yeah.
it's only
It's
$80.
all-
$80 is nothing. And what about, what about Creekside?
So Creekside, I think, is also 80. Portal Park, I think Linda Vista may go up to 110. I'd have to look them up to tell you the truth.
So
Yeah.
they're
Actually,
very reasonable. How well are they used? Do you know? I know you don't have the exact numbers.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you have a guesstimated number of how, first of all, capacity, number of days of the year that is bookable, and number of days that you see being booked, or do you need to go back and look?
Yeah, I mean, I could give you a general because I sign off on every permit. And so, I mean, I would say
I mean,
that,
only 5 locations, so.
yeah, across 5 locations, I would say Creekside Park is probably, if I had to guess, across maybe like 60% of the weekends of the year, it's booked on either Saturday or Sunday. Creekside has really picked up because it does have the trees, and we added a few more tables in there. That was always the plan, but that actually happened in the last year. So Creekside Park is really well utilized, and then Memorial Park, I would say maybe closer to like 40%, 40 to 50. And that tends to have more of a season of like the spring and the fall are more Memorial Park because it doesn't have a lot of shade. So people will go out to that. They like the park, but if it's like the middle of summer, it gets a little hot there. Portal Park, I would say, used to be one of our more popular ones. And it still is quite popular because it's really nice. It has the separate little park and the field, and you feel like you have like the whole park if you rent the picnic area there. But I will say, because it's pretty close to Creekside Park, I think I've seen a little bit of a shift over to Creekside Park. So whatever, where Portal Park maybe lost a little bit, that went over to Creekside. And we've only added Creekside in the last 2 years as a rentable area.
Right. But also Wilson Park is rather large. We don't see that here.
Yeah.
But my question is like, do I understand you correctly when you say that weekends are bookable, which means we're talking about 52 times 2 days for
Correct.
each of the parks?
Correct.
104 days. And I think those numbers would be helpful, because the other thing is sometimes residents are very confused whether they should just go and book it or it's already booked, reserved, because people are planning birthday parties. They don't always come to the city to book, but they think first come, first served, they go and start putting things around on the table.
Yeah.
When, what is the transparency and the knowledge that they have that they can, some parks are reservable versus not? And which parks they
Yeah.
should run and book, which ones are open? Do they need to absolutely pay the city, or can they actually see this as open?
Okay, so if they went to seek it out, they can see it online. And when they go to book or even pretend to book, they can see what's available or not. So they could guess that if they were looking at a certain date and it's not available to book, then they know somebody else has it. At the actual sites that are reservable, there's a sign that says this is a reservable area. And then we encourage them to go, anybody that reserves it, we encourage them to go in the morning and put their permit in the spot that's available so they know. That doesn't stop people from sometimes not seeing the sign, not realizing it's reservable. So sometimes people will show up and be like, well, I'm just going to use this table over here. And then usually people are pretty good, though, when somebody shows up and says, well, I actually have the permit. We always encourage them to bring their permit. And then they'll say, I actually have this area and we were going to use that table. And for the most part, people are pretty good about
But
that.
that is not
Yeah.
a question at all. The question is really, thank you for answering it.
Yeah,
That it is still usable by the general public if it is not reserved.
Correct.
But they can
Correct.
go first come, first serve basis and occupy those tables.
correct. Creekside during the week, I think is used, those tables are used a lot.
I have one final question.
Yeah.
It's actually Vice Chair bonus question almost always. I don't know why you did ask, so I'll ask on this. It's about, getting sponsorships
Mhm.
for all of these. Why aren't we seeing more of Apple sponsoring? Because they're not very expensive. Many of these things, we're seeing the rise, we're seeing everything. You don't see Apple. I'm sure they would be happy to. It's like nothing for them.
And
So,
I just wanted to.
That's a
show
great
little
question.
bit Like hotels,
Hotels.
it's $800 a day minimum.
Oh, goodness.
A meeting space. So imagine a park.
Yes.
I can answer. I know
Yeah.
something. I was at Apple until like 2 months ago for 15 years. For even Cupertino schools have gone and asked for donations, not donations, additional discounts on the devices. According to Apple, Apple is worldwide. They want to do equally for all employees, not just because they're headquartered at Cupertino, just focus on Cupertino. However, they sponsor on the sidewalks and bike lanes and all that, because all employees who come to the campus would be utilizing that. So if they focus on any one particular city, the employees come from all cities and all over the world. So that is one of the reasons they don't do citywide any
What a cop out
benefits.
though.
Mhm.
20,000, 5,000, that's nothing for them. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. My best answer to that is it's just a lot harder than it seems to get sponsorships. And it's something that's just constantly on our plate. And our coordinator who kind of takes the lead, and she's our event person that takes the lead. She gets out and tries to speak to people in business whenever she can. If we ever have anything through the city where we have several business owners or, she'll go and talk to them and say, hey, if you're interested, come on out. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
No, I don't mean to pick on Apple. All I'm saying
Yeah.
is that there are not that many cities in the Bay Area. So their employees are coming obviously from the Bay Area. Even if they're sprinkling like 10,000 per city, it's not too much for them. And it really immensely helps the city because look at the low cost of our events that really benefits the community was my takeaway. And I'm not just speaking on Apple. Let's talk about all the local businesses and hotels for that matter. Please go ahead, Vice Chair.
Well, I was talking about the $80. Most likely these are groups blocking it for what we would say up to 80 people or something, right? So why are we afraid to, sometimes numbers are psychological, but you could double it. I don't think it would make a difference because it's always for groups per se that those bookings are made. So when was the last time that we enhanced the price or how long has it been that way? And are we thinking of increasing it?
For sure, the market rate for things like that is going to be looked at. And I think that's something that's, we're looking at doing that in the next year, that we're gonna look very carefully. But it isn't always groups that are, we do have, like Apple will sometimes come out and rent here and they'll do an employee thing. But a lot of them are just personal birthday parties for the kids. Because they'll say what they are, and I oversee approving all of them, and so I'll kind of look and see what kinds of parties. It's usually on the weekends in the parks. It's usually like a family get together.
Yeah.
I
And
was
also.
just
yeah.
about to ask.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Go ahead, go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
No,
please,
no.
we'll just take the order. Go ahead, Kumar.
No,
Commissioner
I just
Srikanth.
wanted to add as a other side, like customer of parks, right? And every time I've tried to book, I always host parties in Linda Vista or Memorial Park. The long weekends always are busy. You can go to the website and see their thing. But as you say, I was going to say something, I got lost basically. Anyways, I agree with you, whatever you said. about
Okay.
that.
That it's not always corporations, it's a lot.
Exactly, family, yeah. So I have done bookings for the company offsite or for my own parties on a yearly basis. I host during long weekends, so long weekends get really busy. But those are really nice places to host the parties.
Thank you, Commissioner Srikanth. When you get your thought back, you can raise your
Yeah.
hand. I'll call on you. Vice
I
Chair.
have one more question now. You mentioned the $80 and you said yourself that you're approving the permit, so you can make a difference between weekends, families towards Apple, like you also mentioned. Is the price the same?
Yes, it is.
Isn't that already a discrepancy?
It could be, yeah. I think we would need to do when we're looking at that is just determine, again, there's always that fine line where you price out everybody. If they're a corporation and they're like, well, that's not a great deal, I just won't go there. And then they'll go to another city and then you didn't get any rental. So it's trying to find that like fine line. When we do our surveys, we definitely are looking at like the area prices for it.
Yeah.
Once again, please raise your hand so we can have this thing. Do you have a question?
Yeah, just to
Commissioner
add to the
Srikanth.
same,
Go ahead.
to add to the same point. There is also additional cost for electricity. If you want to take electric charge, there is like $25 in addition to $80, right? So their city can make some money as well. Yeah.
I would actually like to add that the rates are, I have to agree with Vice Chair Bonner because companies have quite a bit of flexibility in funding. They're not going to run away because it's $80 versus $160. They just have way too much money to worry about a few dollars, but it does make a lot of difference to the city because every penny matters for us. So there might be some degree of consideration because for them, location matters a lot more than can I save $80? It's simply not worth their time. But it certainly is helpful for us. So that may be something to consider between residents and individuals versus corporations. So, Commissioner Srikanth.
Yeah, I'm not advocating anyone here, but the fact that I came to know. I had gone to Apple Business Conduct asking for some, donations for elementary school. At that time, there was a crisis about holding some public school teachers here in Cupertino. The response I got was that they are located in Cupertino. They are paying heavy tax, and also they are funding things like, these
Millions.
yeah, millions of dollars. So, and they are also funding, big things like pedestrians, bicycle walk and all that. And they have also funded for a park somewhere. So big things they take care of, small things you go and ask them, they're like, they're not going to. Okay, yeah, I've gotten that response in the past, so I'm just sharing. So that is the reason, probably it's not a good idea to charge additional like $10, catch the big fish. Small things, I think,
Yeah, I mean, we're not running to Apple to ask them for $80. What we're saying is we say a corporate price versus a non-corporate price. And the corporate price applies to all non-individual people. So we're not asking them for handouts, but we're saying that this is
Right.
what it is, as a consideration. By the way, I'm also very, just before, one second.
That fees, because that's not really part of this agenda. It was just.
Right, right.
It's certainly related in terms of, because Vice Chair Bono and I support his statement about corporate funding for the city. And there's certainly nothing wrong in just having that discussion and a recommendation. We're not, as a body of commissioners, we are not here to push and say that this is what has to happen. But we can certainly say we are we were discussing it, and these are certain thoughts that we think might be beneficial to the city for consideration. That's all. But that is, are there any other commissioners that have any questions? All right then. Sonia,
Thank
I
you.
must say thank you very much for an exceptional presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We move on to the next agenda item. All right. Are there any postponements?
No, I think we didn't approve them.
Actually, we have the approval of minutes first. I skipped that for a second. Let's go back to the approval of minutes. We had the last meeting on August 7th, 2024. And has the commission reviewed the minutes that were shared by the staff, and do we approve that?
Yes,
I think that-
I approve, I mean, I read it and I would like to. August 7, 2025 Parks and
I
Recreation Commission meeting minutes.
Excellent. And I second that. Perfect. And I'm going to do the roll call.
Yes. Commissioner Marapon?
Yes.
Commissioner Streetman?
yes.
Commissioner Stanek?
Yes.
Vice Chair Bono?
Yes.
Commissioner Swami?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
Are there any postponements for us to consider in this particular meeting? No. Excellent. Let's go on to oral communications. Do we have any oral communications?
Yes, we have one hand raised on Zoom.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and call the person. And I believe they have 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, 3 minutes.
And who's the person? Who are we calling out?
Welcome, Nori.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Here.
It's a bit feeble. We can barely hear you, but please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Commission meeting in Zoom is very nice. Bicycle is considered a vehicle as it is machine used to transport people and is subject the same traffic law as a motor vehicle under California law. For the reason, riding a bicycle on a sidewalk is prohibited because unsafe for both pedestrian and cyclist. City Memorial Park specific plan said, since the park does not feature any designated bicycle trail, bicycle riding in the park is discouraged due to potential conflict with pedestrian. Pedestrians were injured by bicycle in the memorial park. I know people who were injured by bicycle. A woman was taken to hospital I was almost hit by bicycle a few times. There are many families with small children, seniors, senior with youth walker or cane, and people with baby stroller in the park. Those people cannot move quickly enough when the bicycle comes fast. Building a bicycle rack in front of gazebo in the middle of the park encourages more people to ride bicycle anywhere in the park, even near the playground. Park is no longer a safe place for people and children who are walking, jogging, and playing. The bicycle rack should be placed in the Memorial Park parking lot, behind the Quinlan Center, or behind the pickleball court bleachers, because bicycle is considered as a vehicle. Cyclists and pedestrians cannot share the narrow walkway in the park unless city built the bike lane just like a street to protect the pedestrian. Otherwise, it might cause more injuries. Small children ride a tricycle or a small bicycle are exception because their parents are always watching. There are many cycling trails in Cupertino, Mary Avenue over the bridge, 280, and Rancho San Antonio, Foothill Boulevard, the Stevens Creek Canyon Road, Linda Vista Trail, and many more. Please consider pedestrian safety first. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Nori. We have no hands raised on Zoom and no one present.
Alright. Do you move on? We'll close the oral communications and go on to the next business, which is, and do we have any old business, Steph? We don't. Let's go to the new business. The next one is the fiscal year 2024-25 Community Funding Grant Program written reports. We look forward to hearing about that.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'd like to introduce Jacinta Liang, and she will be presenting the Community Funding Grant Program report.
Good evening, fellow commissioners. During tonight's community funding meeting, I'll be providing an update for the 24-25 Community Grant Program Annual Reports. And I just want to remind you that this update is for the 24-25 awarded organizations, not the 25-26 organizations that was just brought to you a few months ago. And then those annual reports won't be due until next July for
Thank you.
25-26. Just a quick summary for 25 or 24-25, 32,500 was awarded for the community funding grant program. And there were 6 awarded organizations. And the community funding grant policy states that grant recipients need to submit written reports to show that proof of their grant funds were spent in the manner that they applied for in the application. And now I'll provide a brief update for each organization. So Cupertino Symphonic Band, they applied for $30,000 and received $30,000. Awarded funds were used to purchase band equipment. So these were used towards sheet music, concert programs, and also towards venue rentals for their concerts. And then these funds were spent in the manner which they applied for in the application. And their reports state that they served around 500 Cupertino residents. Next, we have Cupertino Little League. So they applied or they received $16,000. Awarded funds were used to purchase 2 replacement scoreboards at Wilson Park. And the league has been coordinating with the city for permits, and the install is expected to be within the next month or so. And they are expecting the new scoreboards will be unveiled during the next baseball season. And they say that they served around 500 Cupertino residents. Next, we have West Valley Community Services. They received $3,750. And the awarded funds were used towards their Gift of Hope program. And that program is to provide outfits and food to low-income families during the holiday season. So these included toys and small household appliances. And their results were measured using the program survey that they send out at the end of the program every year. And they stated that they served 121 Cupertino residents. Next, we have STEM Boost. They received $3,000 in community funding, and the awarded funds were used towards a summer workshop, which were led by National Science Olympiad champions. And these workshop sessions focused on physics, chemistry, biology, and engineering topics. And they stated that they served 400 Cupertino residents. Next, we have INOC. They received $2,750 and awarded funds were used to provide free eye exams and prescription eyeglasses to students and young adults. And the number of Cupertino residents that they served with this was 7. For our last organization, we have the Cupertino Rotary Club, and they received $4,000. They use the funding towards their rebuilding together house renovations, where they provided free building repairs and modifications for homes. And they worked on 2 houses. One of them were in Cupertino, and they served 5 Cupertino residents. And that is the annual report for all the 6 organizations that were awarded for 24-25.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Really helpful. One quick question, how do these organizations come to you and give you a progress of how they spent the money? Or do they give you a written report?
There is an annual report that they need to submit by July.
Yes.
By the.
And you review that process and
Yes.
someone goes to?
Yes. So there's a
Thank you.
link that they are sent out, and then it's a completed report that they enter, and then it gets submitted, and then I review it, review all the attachments, and then I compile all the information and then attach the reports and then put on slides for you guys to review.
It's very heartening to see that the funding is spent.
Mhm.
As I said, it is, have you ever in the past seen any divergence from the stated goal to how it was spent ever in the past?
Sometimes they'll say that they, like, let's say they wanna apply for $5,000 and then 2,000 goes towards materials and equipment, and then 2,000 goes for marketing and advertising. And then sometimes they'll let us know ahead of time if they're able to shift their budget around. Like in this case, because a couple of the organizations, they applied for 5,000 and we only awarded like 2,000. They had to kind of shift their program budget around. And then they let us know in the application that they had to allocate their funds in a different way to kind of make the program more effective and reach the amount of clients that they want to serve.
Thank you very much. Do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments?
No, just a comment on it.
Yes, Commissioner Kumarapan, please.
I think on top of, on top of what you asked, I think I've seen this one in the last 4 years too, when we were, so I think the staff does such a meticulous job of
Yes.
reviewing the invoices, and it's great. Because the reports, when you see it attached to it, it's long, and every organization provides the invoice receipts and everything, and they go through it and try to match it to, so, and it's kind of a really, really rigorous one. It may look like a simple one, they award it and walk away, but I think they do it. So I really appreciate, I saw, again, I didn't go through each one of those reports. I mean, I saw the reports, everything is attached, and there's some letters to you all, and that's all. I just comment as great. Thank you. It's a fantastic work.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumarapan. If there are no further questions, going to go to the next agenda item, and thank you again. The next one is commission discussion on the non-native plans on park property maintained by the city. You all remember there was actually an email a few weeks ago talking about how a non-native plant has overtaken the native plant. It's not so much that we don't want biodiversity, but if it's an invasive kind of biodiversity, what does that really entail? And we have a discussion about what guidelines should we provide at least for the parks, a park area. If I remember correctly, for instance, eucalyptus was introduced to the United States and completely eroded all the water table. Yes, while the leaves smell wonderful, the biodiversity was hugely impacted. Which is not to say that all non-native plants are bad, but some of them can be extremely invasive. So can we have a discussion as to, and come up with any guidelines? Do we deem it fit to come up with any guidelines about invasive non-native plants? As opposed to saying any non-native plants should be banned, which doesn't make sense, but should we talk about how do we encourage native plants? Commissioner Shrikant, sorry, you were outside my view.
Yeah. So some of the non-native plants, eucalyptus is a non-native mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the non-native plants, they are really old trees and giving shade, in general green. I wouldn't think that anyone agrees here that we should chop them off. Or is that?
No,
that one
I
of
think the discussion was more about invasive versus non-invasive. I think this was triggered by an email, if I remember correctly. Remind us about that particular email where the whole notion was that it was some kind of a thorny thing and was taking over the entire area, like something like an ivy type of plant. Am I right?
Yeah, there was just a plant that was in an area that was maintained by the city as part of our joint use agreement, but was at, I believe, Maynard School.
Yeah.
And somebody's son had driven through the plant on their bike and they had a lot of thorns in there. So that triggered an email and they had CC'd the commission and the person that their son had driven through had just identified the plant they felt as a non-native invasive plant.
That's right.
And I can give you an update now that.
Absolutely. Plus, I also have heard from one of the students in particular who's at San Jose State University was talking to me about how the non-native plants have completely taken over and the native plants are struggling to survive. I'm not an expert, but certainly as a non-expert, we can still at least discuss and say if it is non-native and it is invasive and it is eliminating the native plant. Think about what happened in Florida. Somebody just put out a couple of pet pythons. Now it's taken over the entire area. Now they're trying to catch and kill them, which is a huge problem. Certainly not being experts in native and non-native plants and invasive versus non-invasive, can still talk theoretically about what do we see as potential recommendations overall. Yes, Commissioner Stanek.
Thank you. I guess I would like, I know that the Public Works, whenever we're doing a whole redesign for a park, they go through what is the equipment we want, what is the landscaping, and they're always very aware in bringing to us, here are the native plants that we're going to be proposing, and especially because the native plants will be more drought tolerant. And
Exactly.
and survive better.
Yes.
So I think that Public Works is already takes that into consideration when they're doing it. I mean, maybe we could ask them for a presentation of how do they go about it, so that they could give us input and then we could say, oh, is there any changes that we'd like to see ask them to have more emphasis on something, but I don't know that. Yeah, I'm definitely not an expert either. And native sounds like a good thing. And I'd like to see what they're already doing rather than reinvent.
We're not talking about specific plants, but we can talk about that we generally. We could, we actually had a discussion about how the Public Works versus the Plants and Parks and Recreation Commission both have a vested interest in this particular issue, right? So it is complementary and not necessarily orthogonal. It can be complementary because they have certain responsibilities. Public Works goes beyond Parks and Recreation, and we are restricting our focus to Parks and Recreation. Because when we're introducing any plants, as we're thinking about replanting, to be cognizant by providing certain guidelines and say, please make sure that they are native plants and non-invasive. Commissioner Shrikant.
Yeah, actually, I don't even know the process, like, are we going to say that, in parks, do not, go ahead and remove all the non-native plants, like, is it?
No.
So without understanding the process or, what is in place, like, how can we give some recommendations is what I'm.
Commissioner
Wondering.
Kumarapan has.
Yeah,
some
I think,
thoughts. Go ahead.
I think I'll go with the Commissioner
Yeah.
Stanley. So I think it's good, and we all understand the non-native plants are really invasive and stuff, but I think without any data of how much in a park you have native plants, how much you have non-native plants, and how invasive it is, without the data, I don't know whether we will make any discussion. No, as I said, at a common sense prevails that yes, let's not have any invasive, non-native plants in general, period, right? But I think it'll be good to have the right experts to give us, hey, this is the current state, and these are the problems we are facing it, especially in the parks. Right, outside, yes, if it is not in the parks purview, it's okay. But as I said, public works and other people, the urban society, I think they're all the experts, and they come back and say, this is what we've seen it, not just in the city. They can provide a presentation on what's happened into the nearby cities and the parks, what are they faced experiences, kind of, it'll be good for us to listen in
Yeah.
and then share it. As I said, none of us, I think we said experts in it, but we agree that we don't want to have those invasive plants to jeopardize the
Biodiversity.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Commissioner Kumarapan, completely agree that it would be great to have more data. And it's also heartening to hear that we are all in violent agreement in general. It sounds that non-invasive, invasive, non-native plants generally tend not to be a great idea. The Public Works Department, Sonia, just to ask you, do they have that kind of data? How many non-invasive or invasive non-native plants do they have? Because I'm not sure if they really take, an overall census or an inventory of all the plants and can say decisively that we have 30% invasive non-native plants. But, and I find it hard to understand if they have the time to do that, but they might be able to say that we have seen certain invasive non-native plants, and there are certain things that we watch out against and prevent that. My understanding is because every time we look at data is a little bit tough to come by. So I'm without knowing it for sure. What Commissioner Kumarapan is asking, I would love that data. But do you believe that the Public Works Department has an inventory of plants overall and say 30%, 20%, 10% or 15% or whatever percentage it is invasive, non-native, non-invasive, non-native, and native plants?
I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
But my guess would be that they wouldn't have it in that kind of data. I think that the individual people that, like the leads that are in charge of their parks and their schools would have an idea if there's a problem with an invasive plant at any particular facility. I think that they would know that individually as staff, but I don't think that they would have it across the board 30%.
So maybe, sorry, can I ask a question?
If it's a follow-up
Yeah, it's a
question,
follow-up. Yeah.
so Commissioner Kumarapan, go ahead.
So maybe my question is that case, in every park, who maintains those trees and plants and stuff, and who is the responsibility for it?
We have grounds staff, and so we have staff that is in charge of maintaining
Under park, not the public,
under Public Works.
under public. So when we have those folks who maintain water and trim it and all of that, won't they know what type of plants it is, or they just, because
Right.
they are the one plants it, I mean, and then they are the ones nurturing it and stuff. I'm sure that they will
Right, they
No.
have to know their area.
what type of plants in every park they have, right? Because sometimes uniformly they put in every park should have these kind of, at least that data would be helpful. I did not know the percentage why, but I'm sure whoever maintains and plans and replans, I hope they will have the data to present. That's all I understand.
Would they have that kind of information, Sonia?
I honestly don't know because it's not our department, but we could ask, but I need to clarify what kind of data you're looking for.
We'll go in the order in which the hands were raised. I'm going to go with Vice Chair Collins.
Few things. First and foremost, it looks to me that we already have data and we do have a master plan, Parks and Recreation Master Plan 2020. And again, we do have a lot of information that shows even on the Stevens Creek corridor, like many of the information that we got, we have over 130 different types of species that needs for their ecosystem native plants. So obviously, the fact that we have non-native plant, it's actually disrupting the ecosystems and for the wildlife per se. I would say the compromise
Yeah.
would be to actually put non-native one if we have to keep it in decorative area, specific one. That could be one of the compromises.
Restrictive.
Yeah, correct, that we could do it that way. But we gotta protect our little wildlife here and non-native one. Ugh, I hate that word. Sorry.
Yeah.
They are disruptive actually for wildlife per se.
Yeah.
based
I would
on-
agree with Vice Chair Bono in that we don't have to be experts on every non-native or native, but we can understand at a high level that it might be disruptive potentially, and native plants should be allowed to thrive. And are we creating the conditions for it? Is, I think, some of the recommendations we would like to provide.
Mhm.
So going next to Commissioner Shrikant.
Want to go over?
No, I think I'm going in the order.
Okay.
Please, let me.
Okay,
run
so
the
I completely agree with Commissioner Stanik's first point about, getting the expertise from Public Works, talk about it. Honestly, I don't know the purpose of this agenda item. What is the expected outcome of this topic? Because we are not definitely the experts of the plans, and also the process itself, I don't understand. Because I'm sure every park has someone on the ground doing the audit and cleanup of non-native, non-invasive or non-invasive, keeping it clean. There are people on the grounds, but again, Public Works is the primary responsible party here. Just like Commissioner Stanek mentioned, if we hear from them what they are doing, what's the process, then we can come up with, is there a problem? If there is a problem, then we'll discuss, the proposals for solutions. Right now, I don't really understand what are we discussing here.
Okay, because there is a confusion as to what the agenda item itself is, let me provide the clarification to you, Commissioner Shrikant. If you remember, there was an email a few
Yeah.
days ago, a few weeks ago. Did we understand?
Yeah.
Are we having some clarity issues as to the content of that email?
So that exactly, there was an issue and the issue got resolved, they removed it. Wherever there is an issue, any park, there is going to be somebody, if there is an issue, people are going to report. Correct, we are solving that. But overall, to see this as we don't have the data, we don't know the process, so who is growing that, who is maintaining the park. So we need to understand that first. But here, this particular problem has been resolved. My question is, with this, just, it's a very broad thing, discuss native plants. What are we discussing? What should be the expected outcome of this discussion? That's what I'm asking.
I can respond to that.
Vice Chair
At
Bono,
the end
please
of the
go ahead.
day, it's good to know what is native and non-native do to our ecosystem. Additionally, as a resident myself, I'd love to be educated to know the difference, because yes, we had one issue that was taken care of because we got the feedback from it. But imagine we didn't have it. It can destroy, it can remove some ecosystems and like I said, we have so many species of birds and this and that. We're in the Parks and Recreation. We need to have those kind of discussions.
Yeah, correct. So, sorry, I'm just responding to that and I want to pass it on to.
Commissioner Srikanth, let me actually clarify, because
Mhm.
there's a, yes, I hear your question as a struggle that, okay, do I understand you correctly, that is there even a problem? Because there was one problem, it was solved, so why are we even delving with it? Two,
Sorry.
let me just frame it and you tell me which, all the things that I'm hearing you
Yeah.
say. Because that's what you did say.
Mm.
Second thing you said is, it is not our purview, it is Parks and it's Public Works Department, and why are we actually thinking about it?
No, no.
No.
So both, both those perceptions are wrong. Maybe I didn't communicate clearly. My question, my single question, I'm just, connecting all the problems. Yes, there is a problem. Yes, there is a process done by Public Works.
But Public Works is not the only one. We also have, like Vice Chair Bono was saying, we also have some responsibility.
Can you finish what I
Yes,
said,
yes,
please?
please
Yeah.
continue.
So what I am saying is, everything, whatever you said, I agree. Yes, we don't know, we need to understand as Parks and Recreation, what is native, what is non-native. And we need to understand the process. We need to, there is some ownership with Public Works. We need to hear from them, like Commissioner Stanek said. And like you asked of the data, everything okay. My question is, in this meeting, there is an agenda item to discuss non-native plans. What should be the expected outcome of this discussion? So first I thought, okay, since we don't know any of this, whatever we brought it up, we are asking Public Works, can they come and do a presentation of what it is, what we should be knowing as commissioners? Okay, if that is the case, so that should be the outcome of this
That's one of
agenda
the-
item.
That is one of the, in
Yeah.
fact, we had this offline discussion, Commissioner Srikanth, where this is not overriding the need for the Public Works Department. We did have this discussion that they should probably come in and give us a presentation. That is certainly fine, and absolutely we welcome more information from everybody. It is also not entirely clear to us, Sonia, whether the Public Works, when they take into account, are they taking into account how quickly something grows? What is the cost of its growth? Are they taking into account native versus non-native? And what is the balance in terms of the principles that they do? Because when they're actually setting up the areas where they need to plant, are these even taken into consideration? Secondly, as Parks and Recreation, we do have a shared responsibility to take a position that, hey, if it is an invasive non-native plant, that can tend to harm the current biodiversity of the native plants. Can we, on principle, agree that we should encourage the presence of native plants and allow the proliferation of it rather than have a non-native plant come over and take over that? That is not completely outside the purview of this particular agenda. So I am still failing to understand your confusion as to what are you looking as an outcome. That's an outcome we're talking about. Should we provide a recommendation or not, whether a non-native invasive plant that can harm the native biodiversity that we have at present should probably not be given as much importance as the proliferation of native plants.
So
Okay.
your questions are valid. However, we don't have answers to any of those, or we don't understand the process. So
Wait,
we
one second, hold on. I'm not understanding your question. What is the process you're not
So
understanding?
let me.
It's a discussion.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, let
Are
me
you
finish
speaking
saying.
information or are you talking about the process? Because the processes we are discussing.
No, we keep saying that, oh, we should start non-native, we should grow native.
We
So
didn't say
proper-
we should or should not. That's a point for discussion.
So, I mean, we want to encourage that as, we want to encourage, you mentioned.
Do
right?
we want to encourage it or not? It's not that we
Okay.
want to, because that's not the agenda. The
Yeah.
agenda is, do we want to?
So-
Commissioner,
Can we finish? Can I
yes,
please
please.
finish saying what I want to say? So, no, recommendation would be like I'm observing lots of thoughts, valuable thoughts and valuable inputs from everyone. I agree to everyone's point. But what I'm saying is to focus on today's agenda. We should, if we have a lot of open questions, oh, yeah, should we do this? Should we do? So maybe today's agenda item should be focusing on what data we need to even move to the next step. Like what information, not even data, what information we need to move to the next step. That information could be, what is Public Works doing? Are they encouraging non-native, or are they cleaning up non-native? Are they growing more native? These things we are just assuming, right? This park showed up, something showed up in this park, somebody is maintaining. All those, that process I want to understand. There must be a governing body who's already taking care of that. What are they doing? And then coming up with our recommendations. So we need
Okay.
facts. Yes.
So-
Commissioner Shrikant, your points, I'm only responding because there's an agenda item question. So what I'm saying is the two things are not contingent upon each other. What your points you bring up are very good. We should certainly ask the Public Works Department, the staff, we would certainly love for them to come and give us a talk as to what they're doing and what the principles are in place. But that is, as an agenda item, I still fail to see the confusion why we cannot even have a discussion. We can say that we hear this, we'd like to have more information as to what the Public Works is doing. And in principle, we believe these to be true and so on. He raised it first. You want to defer to her first because I was going to go to Vice Chair. Yes. Commissioner Stanek, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I understand confusion. I feel like we're making some assumptions of what Public Works is doing or not doing or where they're deficient. And that's what I'd like to find out from them. Do they have a policy? And one question I have is, do we have anyone still on the Zoom call? Because we did get a letter from the Audubon Society with an entire recommendation of things that line by line. And if you go and look at it, it's, in your discussion of non-native plants, we hope you consider replacing non-native trees and shrubs with with local native plants, planting narrow leaf milkweed for monarch butterflies. I mean, they have a step-by-step recommendation, and it would be nice to look at this more fully with additional information, and they're not there. So I had talked to someone and she had thought that if they were able, they were that. So I did just want to bring it up that if there's public comment that we should hear it. But so we did get a written communication on this, and I think it would be good to come back and ask Public Works, how do you feel about these things? Where some people who have really given it a lot of thought have put it down on paper, and are they considering it? And then if they're not, how do we feel about that? Do we want to encourage beyond what Public Works is already doing? I guess that was.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanek. I appreciate it. Let's go to Vice Chair Bonnet. Go ahead.
Once again, I just wanted to read the recommended action on this discussion, and I think it will resolve what your guys are saying. It's discuss the non-native plant parks property maintained by the city as commission and provide recommendation, i.e. Public Works, but I didn't know anything about non-native plants, so I did look into recommendation, prioritize the native, limit the non-native, phase transition and indicated. So that's the discussion. Yes, we're not indeed like our chair mentioned, we're not biologists, but these are, you're questioning the recommendation that is actually based on the conversation. So that is correct, whatever you guys saying. So I think is that the point of this agenda is to bring awareness of native and non-native. What is the differentiation between what do we do? Who should we target in order to come back here and decide what do we do? Is that a problem? Because we did have one. these are the
Mhm.
feedback and the conversation. It's not that we're expert
Yeah.
and it's not about that.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying. I think we both are saying the same thing.
Yes.
I will not be able to discuss further on this now until I learn something. I don't know anything about it. Yes, I may be an avid gardener, but I still, this non-native, native, everything is confusing. Like I don't know the list. I want to understand the process and what exists today to even talk about this. Otherwise, I don't have anything on this topic for today.
No, I hear you, but we needed to do our little.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. That is fine.
Yeah.
One of the things, thank you, Commissioner
Mhm.
Shrikant. I remember that in, this is just a case in point, not specifically about Cupertino, but an example of eco-diversity in other countries as well. In Bangalore, in India in particular, we had this lantana, there was actually a star weed that comes up and that came with wheat that was exported from the United States. It completely took over the entire gardens, and it's very quick, very rapid growing. And it literally killed every other plant over there in the garden and keep pulling it. So there are examples all over the world, not necessarily just in Cupertino, but this is a very well documented issue world over when a non-native plant, which can be invasive, not all non-native plants are bad. Remember, we're talking about non-native invasive plants that are, so we're not even saying that this percentage, so we have to worry about that percentage. Like I said, in Florida, there was just a couple of pet pythons that were left over. Everglades is completely a mess. Every year they are spending millions of dollars catching and killing them, and they're still nowhere close to fixing the problem. So sure, is more information important, helpful? Absolutely, Commissioner Krika, no one's arguing against it. But do we in principle kind of recognize the fact that if it is a non-invasive and it is non-native and it can be, so we provide this broad understanding from a scientific understanding that we have without going deep into being a biologist per se. Provide that recommendation, let them as experts say, yes, we have been doing this and we will make sure that this is actually a documented recommendation that should be helpful to the city of Cupertino per se. That's all it is. We're not going beyond that. It's not our purview to become Audubon experts or environmentalists.
I can't water a plant, so.
All right. Any other questions and comments? Anyone opposed to the whole idea that non-native and invasive is bad for the city? I think from that.
Clarify that the discussion is just on non-native, on our.
Non-native.
Non-native and invasive.
By the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if I could encourage you to work
Yes.
towards what your recommendations are, and we'll certainly record those. Yeah.
I would certainly think that it is common sense. And I wish I was a Audubon and biologist expert, but from all that I have read from school and college to now, it seems to me that we should encourage a greater degree of planting of non-invasive, native plants and eliminate invasive non-native plants.
So limit
Limited, yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to make that motion? Vice Chair.
I would like to actually read 3 recommendation.
Okay,
Or
Or if you want to-
with you, or
Yeah,
submit
go
that
ahead.
to you.
Read it out loud.
Limit non-native, allow non-invasive, non-native in ornamental zones. Phase transition, gradually replace invasive, non-native with native over the 5 to 10 years with grants. We could do that and educate the community. Make the difference between, so that it can catch up between the native and non-native. We do have a lot of people that take care of gardens and we rent them. So we do know that they will pay attention to it as well. So it's all about feedback. These are the little things, including the compromise to put maybe somewhere the non-native in just in decoration area. I'm just saying.
if you make that motion,
Yes,
Formally.
and it's,
I believe we can just take the recommendations as part of the discussion.
yeah,
Yeah.
Perfect. We don't need to do it.
Excellent.
We're just here
It's
to
even better.
take the recommendation.
I think that would be excellent, Sonia. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a follow-up, we would certainly love for the public works to come and give us their a discussion and talk to us about their principles of how they think about it, because clearly they have some expertise in that. Have they actually fructified these principles in how they're planning? And if they are not, do they have any thoughts of doing that in the future?
I'm not sure if you got that bit. So just and we'd like to invite.
Invite them, yes.
So we certainly can check on.
Absolutely, as a follow-up to this recommendation, yes. Thank you. So should we go to the next topic? Does anyone have any other thoughts? Commissioner Stanek, do you have anything? Thank you very much. Commissioner Shrikant? No, we're good. All right. Let's go to the next one, staff and commission reports. Let's go with the staff reports first.
Believe it or not, I need a second now. Sorry. Give me a moment. So sorry.
Please take your time.
Reason the bottom.
Let's
I thought you were still gonna be making some recommendations, so I got caught
Yeah.
off guard
We
here.
are fine with your statement that you will take this discussion and the overall recommendation, and that's fine. We appreciate it.
And I forgot to mention public court recommendation.
Just going to do it.
Perfect.
We did. And thank you.
It's always very exciting for me. It works.
On the position.
All right, now I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay, our first, I'm putting my liaison hat back on now. And for my first item, it's just a reminder to do the mandatory cybersecurity training due on September.
All done.
I think I did.
Keep thinking on it, I don't do it, I didn't finish it, I will do it.
There's so many trainings. I think I did many of them, but I think I have one or two, but it's still not the due date
If you
yet.
have any questions or you want to check, you can just email the help desk at Cupertino.net,
Almost done.
and they'll help you out.
One quick question. Did you get the completed email back?
No,
Because I
just-
completed, I didn't, you
No,
press finish.
It says confirms. It
Yeah,
says
no,
you
it
have
says completed, but-
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I took a screen.
I pressed the finish.
I took a screenshot just in case. Sorry, maybe.
Okay, project update, requested by Commissioner Stanek for a future agenda item. We wanted to provide an update on the status of the annual playground replacement CIP project. And I know that, you did receive an email back directly, but we're making sure that we get back to everybody. The project is currently on hold due to CIP staffing recruitments, and CIP will resume work on the playgrounds after they successfully hire more staff. Per the CIP presentation given in April to Commission, Varian Park, Little Rancho Park, and Canyon Oak Park are targets for improvements in the future when they're able to resume.
So just a question on that, when they get back online, so this is a little different from what Susan said in her email. She just said, we told you everything we're gonna tell you. We already presented this all to you, but
We
But-
went back and investigated in some of the links that she said that information was here. So we went back and found some of that information to make it a little more transparent for you.
okay, so when we do get those recruits on board and when we decide what when they have a proposal of what they want to do, that's when it would be nice for it to come
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
before, like, not just in the annual, here's what we did, but sort of in a proactive manner.
Okay. Pass that along to.
I'm sure she'll love it.
Okay, Pooch Plunge is back on Saturday, September 6th, this coming weekend, from 9 AM to 12:45 PM. They're 45-minute blocks at Blackberry Farm Pool, and the event is currently sold out with wait lists. I did check in because you had asked if there were any added sessions, and I checked in with the manager, and she said that she knows that the coordinator had tried to maximize all the spots that he possibly could. safely. And then they have 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions
Four block.
that are happening. So they've tried to maximize all those spots and get in everybody that they possibly can. Okay.
How many people are waitlisted?
I don't know the total number of people. I saw in one, there was like 8, I think, on
Oh,
but
nice.
the latest one, which is probably the most popular because people like to come a little later.
Well, and what happens is when people say it's sold out, they don't even know to go put their name on a wait list. So I think we're not capturing the true demand there.
No, but no, it does. So when you say that you want to put it on the wait list, when I say plus wait list,
Right, but if I go into the list and it says sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, I don't even go to look if there's a wait list.
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to go and try to register. Then
Right.
it says, oh, it's full. Do you want to put it on the
No, but
wait
you can
list?
see it's sold
Sonia?
before you even try to
Does
register.
that, would it be possible to say sold out, but we can waitlist, add to waitlist right next to it?
I do actually know the answer to that
Okay.
because
Probably no.
it's Reg for Rec and that's an outside.
Yeah.
So it's more of a template kind of deal. It's not easily customizable for that. Because we have looked into
So
that.
just, the wait list is not.
Yeah.
Make a true.
That's unfortunate.
You just need to know to click
Because
on
if,
it.
because if it's extremely popular and we know that it's twice as much, then maybe we can have it on multiple days. perhaps.
Maybe. in the
Yeah, I think
description.
it's the staff needs to make note that they're all sold out and it's just they are trying to do the best. they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe, sorry, so it is possible because when I click on it, it says plus wait list. So the same plus wait list, if they could add it at the beginning, so they're not going to extra click.
Yeah.
The system has it. If their software implementation, I know what, just if you could ask them, hey, I know that when you click on that link, it says plus waiting list. If they could put that wait list next
The
to the
previous,
full,
yeah.
it says full, but
Wait
plus
list.
wait list. If they put it, they don't have to go to click it, they just.
I understand what you're saying, and we've been told by active that they not, because it's.
Okay.
template on there. So,
Besides a button, maybe in the description that says if it shows full.
Like a
to
header,
wait.
a header is the easiest.
I mean,
I think that's
That's the
possible
text.
because if, I think the
probably
text
they're
would be-
advertising of the event.
or even on the screen itself. That's an excellent point, Commissioner Stanek, because actually even in software, we,
But I am gonna keep moving.
Yeah.
Okay. We are
please do.
on a discussion on that one, so, pardon?
Point of order, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so teen movie night. We have our teen movie night on September 26th, Friday. They're gonna do Lilo and Stitch, but the new Lilo and
Oh, the
Stitch.
new
So
one.
when we put the 2025.
I will
That's
be-
not the.
Okay, I'm actually going to call a point of order because this came up in the mayor's meeting. We'll let Sonia finish her entire presentation and then we'll make our comments. We don't want to interrupt.
And
her.
clarifying
Please go ahead.
questions.
And clarifying questions or comments. Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Lilo and Stitch and 6:30 to 8:30, but this is the teen movie night. And so it's kind of a kickoff to our teen events. You'll hear more about that in October when we come back and present. Okay, staffing updates. Briefly introduce Lindsay, but I'll officially introduce Lindsay now.
Welcome.
Very good to assistant in the city clerk's office. And she's been brought on board to basically be the admin for all commissions and she'll be running the hybrid feature. And this, I think this is our first night being fully.
Yep, this is our first night.
Yes,
Good.
doing great.
Stop it.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Also in staffing updates, the last meeting I had announced that Jenny Coverman had retired and we did run a recruitment. And happy to announce that Alice Corbelis is our new recreation manager at the Sports Center. So we're very excited to have her. And she was the recreation coordinator at the Sports Center as well, so.
Correct.
Sports and-
Yeah.
Yes. In other updates, we have an update from our last meeting. It was the last meeting, may have been 2 ago. The QR code for survey feedback will be added to the winter recreation schedule.
Nobody joined. Wait,
So they'll
let's
have
actually
some
hold all that later,
very
please.
basic questions of like, how are we doing? Branton Kurt is making the decision on what questions will be on there, and then he'll be collecting that feedback. And then as part of that, eventually, we want to give at least 6 months to get the feedback, and then he'll have that as part of his presentation when he comes back to you at a later date. Okay, and then the Thorny Vine at Tessellation School, which is, I believe, actually Regner, was removed, just to follow up on that. So we wanted to make sure that we gave that update. And I'm just making sure in my notes that I covered all my additional information. Also, just as an update from our previous agenda item, I'll just let you know quickly, Creekside Park, $80, Linda Vista, $136, Memorial, $113, and Portal, $80. And then those all also have non-resident rates, which you could look this up on the website, but it's all right there on the website if you'd like to look at some of the rates as well. And I think that concludes, yes, that concludes my update.
Thank you very much. It was very comprehensive and cool. I'd like to invite the commissioners who I know really are excited and wanted to comment or show their support. Please go ahead and do so now. Raise your hands. I can call upon you, Commissioner Kumarapan.
Yeah, and I think I was saying that Bono would be happy for the QR code, which he will be celebrating, and he will invite us to be in that party.
I love the event.
That's all. I don't know.
Commissioner Bono, I was not aware of a party. Please invite me for the QR code that it has been implemented. Please throw one.
I'll be doing that in India.
All right. Any other comments by anyone? I'm sure we are all in violent agreement. It was a really good report. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. All right. Commission reports. Do we have any commission reports?
No, no.
I will have one a little bit later, but actually there have just a very quick overview. There have been some discussions between the mayor and there's an organization called, let me just read it out, CASOA, which has been doing some work for senior citizens in different cities and would like to help with Cupertino. So we'll have more data and information about that later in the next meeting. Commissioner Kumarapan and we have a report to give on the senior citizen thing in October in the next meeting. So we'll bring all that information to you. All right. So that's all I have for now. And I think we have the next, not I think, I believe the next item is a future agenda sitting.
Right.
So one of the future agenda sitting is to invite the public works to talk about the native, non-native plants. And I completely hear both Commissioner Shrikant and Commissioner Stanek and certainly Commissioner Kumarapan, and I know Vice Chair and I, all of us would love to hear what they're doing, what their policies currently are. If they don't have any, what are some of their thoughts are with regard to any invasive, because I know it's not just this one school. There are a lot of vines all over it, especially even as you walk through the Lawrence Mitty pathway. At least that was one of the college students was educating me on that. So I'm not an expert on it, but we'd certainly love to hear what those policies are from them. And we have already provided the recommendation very beautifully articulated by the Vice Chair Bono. So that's great. We certainly would love supplemental information. That's one of the future agenda items. Commissioner Kumarapan, any other future agenda items that you'd like to propose?
Yeah, I think the one we covered in the minutes of the meeting. So bring the person on the pickleball. I think Kathy.
Yeah.
I believe it was captured there. I would like to see that because it is.
For presentation.
Yeah, the pickleball related challenges issues are keep on coming up. So.
Can I clarify on that? That person was a member of the public, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
She is the leader who represented the Cupertino pickleball area. That she is the one.
Okay.
She is the one who
And
invited us.
what is the agenda item? What is the?
So in the minutes it is
topic?
covered, even in the recording, so I can just tell you. Since we put some recommendations from the city on the timing and using the soft or non-sounding paddles and whatnot, we issued the letters, right? The city has sent the letters and recommendations. And we said, how do we enforce it? And we talked about it instead of, it's difficult for the city staff to go and monitor what paddles and is it really soundproof, whatnot. We said, can they do a self-disciplined or self-monitor? Can they do it as a members? Because they have a disciplined way of doing it and they work with all the players and they through the WhatsApp or whatnot. So we wanted to hear from that person who is the leader of that group and say how it is being received. Are they really taking actions? What is the response from them? Because it's impossible. So we want to hear back from them ASAP, and I would definitely would like to see in the next because I see a lot many emails and commotions going around it.
Okay.
Commissioner Kumar,
Check on that because that's a member of the public.
Yes.
That wouldn't be something
exactly.
likely that we would arrange to have a member of the public come. They could certainly be invited.
Or if you think that I can reach out, I can reach out to come, but
And
we
then
need to
as far
provide an
as the
agenda.
agenda, so what I would say is to clarify what is your agenda item that you want to add, and then certainly you could help to get the word out so that people could come and speak to the agenda item.
I think when,
Back.
yeah, I agree with,
It's-
one of the things, Commissioner Kumarappan, I know the staff cannot just reach out to individual members of the public. They can certainly reach out to other commission or public works, for example, if that comes up. But in this particular instance, it may be a challenge for them to say, I'm going to go and get a particular member of the public to come and talk to us. Certainly, we can invite them to give a 3-minute talk or something and say how it is working for them, or have a group of people and then they can just add more minutes to them. Defer, right? It's
So-
been.
Maybe let me ask you the question.
Define what your agenda item is.
I can send you in writing because whatever,
Yeah,
if I say that it may not, so I
Yeah.
can send it, but maybe before that a
But we
question.
have,
In order
How
to,
did we-
this is the time to propose.
yeah,
Okay, so if that is the case, okay, before I propose, she came in and spoke about it and gave a presentation. How did that happen? Did she approach this?
She came and spoke during oral communications as she was a member of the public. So she had her 3 minutes to
Yeah.
present to you.
During oral
On
communication.
any.
that's
Oh, I
exactly,
see.
yeah. Commissioner,
Okay. So how did
Kumarappan,
we-
that's exactly what I'm saying, that if you want to hear from her, that's the only forum that we can, that is allowable, I believe, because she's a member of the public. So she can come and talk about it during oral communications again and give as a member of the public, sometimes you can come as groups of 2 or 3, I believe, and people can give their 3 minutes additional to her.
It's fine if you have a group of
Exactly.
5.
Yeah. So I don't believe the city staff can go and invite her to come and give a talk because she's not an official of the city.
So what you would want to do is have your agenda item, and what I thought I heard is you want feedback on how it's going with the newest guidelines given by council in regards to using the quieter pickleball paddles. So maybe that's your suggested agenda item, is that you would like to have a discussion on how it's going with the new guidelines.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
maybe I'm still, maybe still
Commissioner-
I'm learning. No, still I'm learning. Give me just a second, please. So when I put that agenda item, will that public speaker will be available to present and we have question answers? Or still that person has to have only 3 minutes and then walk away?
so they would have an opportunity to speak after the agenda item is presented in the meeting, and then they would be part of the public comment to the agenda item. And they have 3 minutes to speak at that time.
Commissioner Kumarappan, one of the
Okay,
challenges
yeah.
that I understand is that without an official role, it is not possible for her to be given the forum other than to come in the oral presentations. And to extend the time beyond 3 minutes, she'll have to be part of a group where the other group members give her an additional 3 minutes to speak. I don't believe the
Okay.
city staff has the ability to sit and invite her because she does not have an official city role, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, understand.
All right? Are there any other future agenda items? No. I have one. would you like to propose? But I'm wondering,
Yeah, so,
I haven't heard of.
okay, so let's put an agenda item. Okay, let's make it. Okay, my agenda item is simple. Wanted to know how the city ordinance or the city recommendations are being implemented by the pickleball players. That's all I wanted to discuss or learn how it's being implemented.
How the players are following the
Implemented or
guidelines.
following.
Following the guidelines, okay.
How, yeah, and that's my thing, and who presents it, what it is, that's my ask.
So that, right now, that if that were added to the agenda, it's a discussion amongst the commissioners. And so it would really be, if that were added, that would be on the commissioners to get out there and speak to the pickleball players and see how that's, and then that would be part of
Okay,
the
that's
discussion.
I will
Or
meet
they
with
could
the.
come and.
They could come
have
as well.
public comment.
But if nobody comes and nobody has gone out and
But it's not-
actively sought out that information, you have nothing to talk about.
For that feedback from
Correct.
people
Okay.
using it.
Yeah, let's put it that way in discussion, so maybe I'll talk to Kathy offline.
So I believe we're taking we're doing our usual, we take all the proposed agenda items and then you'll go through and get a first and second on the agenda items. Is that correct, Lindsay?
Yeah, we can definitely do that way if you'd like
Yeah, she seconded us.
That's usually how we have done it in the past, so.
first of all,
And you
I
have-
think Commissioner Kumarapan, please articulate the specific agenda item that you are proposing.
Yeah, should I make a motion and then?
Yes, please articulate
Let me
it in a way
make a
that.
motion to put an agenda item, the future agenda item related to pickleball guidelines, how it is being implemented and followed by the players in Memorial Park. That's it.
I second that, but my own,
Sorry, Lauren Caputo, Deputy State Director. You don't need an official motion to add a future agenda item. We just need at least two or more commissioners to agree that you would like to put that as.
I have one follow-up to that, Commissioner Kumarapan. I completely support what Commissioner Kumarapan is proposing. My question is this: is it too premature to do it? Should we defer it for a little while because let the new rules come into play for at least a reasonable period of time or proposal? You haven't even made a rule. They've just made a I believe the city council.
Okay.
Yeah, the city council has provided a guideline. Is that sufficient time has passed?
Refer to the commission on when you would like this. item
Exactly.
back.
So that is something I completely support it, but I think it's more of a timeline. Should we give a little? So I second Commissioner Kumarapan's viewpoint because we need more data. But should we actually do it immediately or should we do it in the meeting after?
For the commission.
So, we are talking
Commissioner
about,
Srikanth, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, we are talking about next month, right?
No, we are not
no, it's a
talking about
future
that.
agenda.
We are just
No, no,
talking about future.
Oh, so any of the future agenda, so we haven't picked that,
Date.
okay. So I would recommend even, if we don't have enough agenda items for next month, we can include this because by then 1 month we have. And given it's summer, pickleball courts are being really active. People have been playing ever since the guidelines have been, given to the public. People have been using it. So it may be a good checkpoint to have it next month and then have another, if we don't have enough data, or nobody's speaking to that, we can have another checkpoint after like
I
3
think
months.
what-
To limit the discussion, what I would say is propose the agenda item. And then as a commission, you can decide if you'd like to have that on your future agenda items. And then when we do our agenda planning meetings with the chair.
Yeah, I think let's put it on the future agenda.
Absolutely.
You will make a call.
Sounds good.
That's all.
Yeah,
It's not our preview, it's a chair as the
okay,
priority, work with staff on what agenda, but I want to put it in the future.
sounds good.
Okay.
So we
I
have
believe-
2 agenda items that have been added so far.
One is the public works
And we
and
had one more.
I had one that, but we had already just put it on one of the future agenda items, so I don't think I need to restate it. Something about the community park where we have the residents and whoever wants to garden, work it out among them. But I think it's already part of it, so I don't need to restate it. We can just, it's part of it. So are there any other future agenda items anyone wants to add? So, all right, then we move to the next one. We
Actually, so then now Lindsay, then
We got a second on the,
For
you don't,
the chair, you don't need a
you
second.
don't need an official motion, you just.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good? All right, sorry.
Good.
Making sure.
All right, so I believe with that, we come to the end of the meeting. If no one has any other agenda item, and I get to hit the gavel
Bye.
and say, I call this meeting to an end.